Christmas is my favorite time of year. This is true. It always has been. And after last night, it will remain as a lasting memory in my heart. My fondest memories of Christmas were with my children when they were still young and innocent. Of course, I understand that Christmas is a Christian holiday. I get it. But I'm thinking back to when I was just a young boy. And young boys know that Christmas is a time of cheerful talk, smiles, distant relatives, cookies, and presents. Now, even then, I'm sure that I knew that Christmas was about the birth of the Savior because I learned about this in church on Sunday mornings. We would go to church with our finest clothes on, and we would try to pay attention lest we get a significant glance from our Father. On Christmas Eve, I would lay awake in my bed, far too excited for sleep, because I knew that Santa Claus would visit our house during the night. Santa Claus had never missed our house, so I took that to mean that we must be pretty good children. Me, along with my 3 sisters and 2 brothers. I never came to understand just how Santa Claus would be able to know if we had been good or bad. He always came to our house, and that is how I knew that we were good children. When I had children of my own, my wife and I continued some of the same traditions learned from our youth. My wife's side of the family opened their presents on Christmas Eve. And the next morning, if they had been good, Santa Claus would leave a present or 2 and candy in their stocking, which was hanging in anticipation of such a hopeful outcome. As I grew older, and as my children grew older and began to lead their own separate lives, I came to reflect much more deeply on the significance of the Christian holiday. Over the years, many of the good people I knew started to become cynical in the holidays, and they said that it was infected with commercialism, which obviously is true in large part. I resisted this growing cynicism, however, because I remembered how it felt to be a child. My solution was to try to find that childlike faith in the beauty of the holiday, and to let it fill me with joy and grace. For I believed that this is what the Lord would have wanted. And one of my greatest joys, even to this very day, is to give gifts to those that I love, even as the Lord gave us a gift of hope. My children do not need gifts from me at this age, but I shall continue giving gifts as long as I am able, for it is in the giving that we receive. I write these words joyfully. It is Christmas night, and my good wife has gone to bed early after an exhausting day of work and preparation, which is the tradition of our Christmas Day feast. The house is dark, except for the small light that illuminates my studio, and I am wrestling with the words to describe this feeling of exhilaration, the elation that I'm feeling this moment, for my spirit has been shaken. This takes me back 18 hours when I went down to my lower level of the house to read a bit before bed. The room was brightly decorated, and a lighted Christmas tree glowed with splendor, filled with special and meaningful ornaments and keepsakes from our children. I love Christmas trees, for, like a strong incense, they filled the entire room with an atmosphere. Odd as it may sound, I was reading my favorite writer, H.P. Lovecraft. The blinking lights from the tree and the gentle sound from the toy train ornament put me into a strong reverie, and I fell asleep. I was woken by the gentle sound of laughter, a restrained giggle of warmth. Opening my eyes and turning to the sound, I was confronted by a man wearing a bright red. Wait a second. This was Santa Claus. I was staring into the very face of who I had come to understand was St. Nicholas. He continued as I continued to process the information. "Merry Christmas," he said with a chuckle, and his voice was filled with mirth and good cheer. I looked at him with astonishment, but I said not a word. He regarded me with a smile. Then he reached towards me and handed me a brightly wrapped present. I took it from him at once, and then I smiled. "How did you get in here?" I asked. He pointed to the fireplace, which still had a small fire kindling. "What were you thinking?" he said. "Are you trying to burn me alive?" I apologized without thinking. Then I handed him a plate that I had with me. "Can I offer you a cookie?" He accepted the plate and took one of the cookies. "Aren't you going to open your gift?" he said merrily. "I think you'll like it." I opened it at once without even thinking how strange of this thing was happening. It was a box of cigars, Arturo Fuente to be exact. These were some very good cigars. I smiled as I looked at him again. "Go ahead and light one up," he said. "I think it will be all right, just this time." I started to look around for something, but he immediately handed me a cutter and a torch lighter as if he had been waiting. Taking the cutter, a V cutter, which cut the cigar in the shape of a V, he watched me with interest, even as he began filling his own pipe. Soon we were both enjoying a smoke together on Christmas Eve, next to my fireplace in the stocking that was hanging off a hook. "Aren't you in a hurry?" I asked as they blew out a rich cloud of smoke. "Time does not work the same way for me," he said. I waited for him to further elaborate, but he only smoked his pipe with satisfaction, as if his satisfaction were the only answer possible. Did you file a flight plan? I asked. Modern radar can track almost any object in the sky. He took the pipe out of his mouth. You do not understand, he said. I am not from your world. I thought that you would understand. I exist in a different world. A separate world that belongs only to you. So I need no flight plan. I need no credentials. And I need no other purpose than my own. You exist only for me? I asked, because I was afraid that I didn't hear him correctly. To believe is to believe in something apart from yourself, he answered. Children need no other explanation. I am not a child, came my quick reply. Do not be offended, he answered with a smile. It is your childlike spirit that is alive in me, and that is why you can see me. And I am just as much a part of you, don't you see? Other people see the ornamentation, and some people sadly see nothing. But you... How long have you smoked a pipe? I suddenly asked. The pipe belongs to me, he answered, just as I belong to the pipe. I have always smoked this pipe. Are you really a saint? I asked. I know that you have been called Saint Nicholas, so I assumed that you were a saint. I have also been known as Father Christmas, but what's in a name? That was such a long time ago that I sometimes forget, and often I remember things wrong. Other people remember things for me, and I am happy to be known for some things I may not even have done. They say that I am a patron saint of children, sailors, and unmarried girls. And if that is true, then I am thankful for my sainthood. I have heard many of the legends of the miracles I have been associated with. As the Bishop of Myra during the 4th century, I was known as Nicholas of Myra. I have always been carefree with my wealth, and I have given dowries to young girls that would have otherwise been ruined. But I ask no praise for the generosity I have shown, for my generosity comes from the Lord. What's the story with the red clothes? I asked him. When I was the Bishop of Myra, I often wore red clothes and white robes. Some habits are hard to break. It was generous of you to get me these cigars, I said with a smile as I blew out a perfect smoke ring. Nice, he said with a smile. I have been blowing smoke rings since before you were even born. I once blew out a smoke ring that was so large that it carried me away with it. And then he blew out a tremendous smoke ring that spun through the faint firelight and hung at the ceiling. Feeling awkward, I asked him, "Aren't you in a hurry, Mr. Claus? Please call me Santa." Then he handed me another package. "Give this to your lovely wife and tell her it is from me. I know that she is difficult to buy gifts for, but that is only because of her own generosity. So don't fault her for her own small faults." Spoken like a true gentleman, Mr. Santa. Hey, by the way, you must get quite a bit of snow where you live. Do you shovel it yourself? Taking the pipe out of his mouth with a laugh, he said, "What do you think I have elves for?" "Do you enjoy giving gifts?" I asked him. "There is nothing better," he answered. "Life is a gift. The world is a gift. Love is a gift. Everything is a gift. And the Lord is a gift. So by giving gifts, we please the Lord. But not all gifts come from the Lord. If the gift comes from the heart, then it is from the Lord. But a gift given selfishly is evil." I seem to remember that we talked for a long time until I was becoming sleepy. I don't remember when it happened, but I actually fell asleep in front of Father Christmas. I hope he is not upset with me, but I couldn't prevent my sleepiness from overpowering me, and I nodded off. When I opened my eyes, my wife was looking intently into my face. She smiled. "Merry Christmas," she said. "Are you going to sleep away the entire morning?" I must have nodded off, I answered with a smile. "I didn't sleep too well last night." "I'm not surprised," she answered. "You ate an entire plate of cookies. These were supposed to be for Santa." I smiled at her warmly. "Santa did eat them. I didn't eat any of these. Oh, by the way," I continued, "Santa asked me to give you this." And then I handed her the present. She looked at me questioningly. "Go ahead and open it," I said. "It's Christmas." She began to tear the package open. First, just a little tiny corner. Tentatively, she finally tore the entire side open, which she never did before. I had no idea what this present was, but when I saw tears in her eyes, I was completely unprepared. Her lips quivered, and she bent down to hug me close. "Thank you," she said to me. "How did you know?" I hugged her close for a moment. The moment was perfect. But I never said another word about it, for this present was intended for me alone.